I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
These proceedings are being recorded for the sole purpose of preparing accurate written minutes. Recordings are overwritten following approval of the minutes, eliminating all unofficial records of the proceedings. Are there any guests concerning prison board meeting business this time? No guests concerning prison, sir, your name and where you're from, please rise. Your name and where you're from? One second.
Okay, who did you say, James?
Bachelor, I think.
Bachelor.
Bachelor, a little louder, please,
And
okay?
you would say that disciplinary? Okay, is that in reference to a personnel issue? Okay, then I'm not so sure it can be discussed at this meeting.
Okay,
I mean, it's up, but I mean,
since we don't have a solicitor, I don't know, if it's a personnel issue, we'll not do, yeah, we'll have to discuss that with you later or whatever, okay?
I mean, I don't know, Bob, I mean,
Personnel issue, okay. Okay, did that answer your question? Okay. Okay, any other guests concerning prison board business at this time? If not, I'll turn it over to our chair.
Would you have people present? I just have members from Train, just here to give a presentation to the board regarding the heating and ventilation system.
Might as well take them now since they're here.
Might as well.
If anybody has a problem with that.
No.
Okay.
And who are you and you're from Train? Okay,
Train, yes.
Okay.
My name is Maria DiStefano. I've been with Train for about 4 years. The last year I've been an account manager, so I help out with larger scale projects and whatnot. Before that, I supported the correctional facility as a client services rep, which is what Connor's current role is. So he would support on contract renewals, quotes, things like that. So we have a service relationship for several decades with Carbon County Correctional Facility. And at this point, the infrastructure has reached a critical turning point. So that's what I'm here to talk to you about today, the growing risks and the costly repairs. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with ASHRAE. ASHRAE is the American Society of Heating, Refrigeration, Air Conditioning Engineers. And so they're basically the governing body. They develop and publish standards and guidelines for us to abide by. So as you can see, a standard rooftop unit, ASHRAE recommends the recommended life expectancy is 15 years. Below that is a list of your current rooftop units on the correctional facility. As you can see, they're mostly all past that 15-year standard. Also, I wanted to point out the refrigerant of R22.5 of the rooftop units have R22 refrigerant, which is not being manufactured anymore. That ceased in January of 2020. So if there is a need and something goes down during cooling season, there's a leak, and that could get quite costly because it is considered a commodity and the prices fluctuate hourly on the market. So as I'm sure you are all aware, FEMA currently has heaters serving rooftop unit 6. There is an issue with the heating side. So luckily FEMA was able to provide a unit for you for temporary heating at no cost. So that was good. However, if there is a more critical facility that comes up needing that heater, they can pull that from you. I know that's something Rodney may lose sleep over. So we do have a rental division, which are one of my counterparts that came out, did a contingency plan for that unit or any other critical unit. If you would have to go through Train for a rental unit, your first initial cost would be approximately $7,000, and then each additional month after that would be about $4,500 for a rental.
Are these units on state contract or anything?
They're under a preventative maintenance contract, yes, through CoStars.
No. Okay, that's, I don't know. We'll have to double check that, to make sure, okay? Make sure we all have all the proper numbers. What's the availability of the units?
For a rental unit, that I'm
Yeah.
not sure of.
Oh,
Or you mean like,
A
a
replacement?
replacement? Connor, can you take that down? I can get back to you on that.
Yeah.
So the 30,000 is a quote to replace the heat exchanger on rooftop unit 6. So we had initially come out, we had provided quotes to repair the heat exchanger with different components. I think it was like a day or two later, those components failed. And then when we came back out, as you can see in the third picture, the heat exchanger is rusted out. So the recommendation was there was no way for us to kind of Band-Aid that anymore. So we would have to replace the whole heat exchanger. Now, within that quote is the cost for labor to do the repair. Obviously, the heat exchanger, that is one of your biggest units. So it's a large part. And so the cost for a crane is also included in that. Where the unit is located on the roof, it's pretty far back. So it needs a larger crane and also a secondary truck with the counterweights.
Well, just because of the cost, getting a crane in to put even a temporary unit in is just, it's not cost effective at all.
Exactly, yeah. So the other thing I wanted to point out was within in the last 5 years, just with train only, the county has spent almost 150,000 in service, emergency service calls, as well as repair quotes. And that's not just on 1 or 2 units, that's pretty much across all 7 units that we have come out and been making repairs. So right now you're spending heavily without gaining a long-term value. So the recommendation from Train would be to replace the full system, right? There is benefits of doing that. There is, risk mitigation. You would save on your emergency repair costs. Reliability of newer units is going to be much better. There's going to be less downtime. And also with the new units, you're going to get a warranty. We offer, 1, 3, 5-year warranties, whatever you would choose to do at that point in time. Also, there's a savings aspect to it. By doing all of the units at once, it's going to be less labor mobilization, less in engineering fees, crane cost, obviously. So bundling is going to save on repeated costs. Now, I know funding is always a challenge. So we do have another path forward if we're not able to do the whole system in total. So we can structure it in stages, basically. So currently, if you look here, the priority list, and this is coming from our technician that was most recently on site. Rooftop 7, 3, and 6 are the biggest, I guess, challenges, I would say. They're the units that probably would need to be replaced first. I don't really know, this priority list doesn't necessarily mean, 7's got to go first or 3. If we're going to do the heat exchanger on 6, I know Rodney mentioned, you would buy some time on that unit. So that's kind of why I dropped that down. So whichever unit you would decide to replace first, that would be up to you. The other point I wanted to mention is the controls system right now is antiquated. So we wouldn't just be able to replace the rooftop unit because the newer rooftop units have the newer technology and we're not able to connect it with the current VAV boxes. So we would do a VAV retrofit connected to the unit as well as upgrade your building automation system. So that way you would have more visibility to that system. Rodney would have more control over that as well. So the first unit that you replace, that budget number would include the initial establishment of the building automation platform. And then after that, it would just basically include the integration of each unit into that platform. Does that make sense? Does anybody have questions? So I believe there was approval for a replacement of a rooftop unit this year. So the path forward would be to, get the building automation system upgraded as well as whatever rooftop unit you choose. And then what I would recommend is doing 2 units for the next several years, and you could plan for capital in advance on that.
In upgrading the operating system or controls and that to the new, how much does it affect the older units? I mean, do they all each have their own separate controls that it's not gonna be affected if we replace one
One
that
at a
we're,
time.
it's not gonna affect any of the older ones yet?
Correct, it won't, because they're all separate right now, right? Yeah. So it wouldn't,
I believe 6 and 7 are the same system. But that is the oldest computer in the building. I know when the techs come out, their software can't even talk to those 2 anymore because that's older than the rest of this building. I know we have a computer module that does 3. I know we have another one, I think that does 4 and 5, and I'm not sure about 1 and 2. I think they're tied together.
okay, so they're not separate thermostats that,
There are separate thermostats throughout,
okay.
but I know when tech will come in and hook up the computer,
Mhm.
depending on which unit he put, where it will hook up his computer to.
Okay. All right, I mean, to do the project, we would do an engineering study, so we would make sure that everything goes smoothly by replacing them in stages.
We need a decision today as to how we are gonna or I don't wanna wait till next month's meeting either. Oh,
I mean, so the next steps, let me just finish this last part. So basically, the train process would be to come to an agreement with you. It's a project development agreement. What that does is that basically gains commitment from both parties to start developing the project. We would start pulling the current drawings. We would do the engineering study. We would come up with mechanical and control schematic drawings to prove, to provide, and then you would receive your final cost on the project. With that, there is a fee associated with it. It's a breakage fee though, so if you did decide to move forward with Train on that project, then that cost would get wrapped up into the total project. If you decided to go in a different direction, then that's when that would be invoiced. Now, I know you utilize CoStars for service related. You have a
And-
question?
No, and I know, like, we had discussed this before, and I thought, like, when they told us about that before, all the controls were tied together, that they wanted to do the whole control panel all at one time. Now, you're telling me like each unit can be replaced, each unit can be, it's not tied in to the other units, that all the other units have to be changed. Correct,
As
okay.
units in-
But I think, I mean, and I'm not positive, but I think the last time it was presented to us that all the controls had to be changed in the first place. I mean, a couple years ago now, what you're telling me is a little bit different than what it was presented to us, I think, before. And that's what I think halted us before, because it would have been replacing all the controls with everything.
Okay.
Now, this makes a little bit more sense here. I mean, and like I said, we would have replaced all the controls in all the units.
Right,
That I'm not sure, but I think that's maybe how it was before, Derek. And that's where it was our problem, that the cost would have been all the controls and then 1 or 2 units a year. But now you're telling me the controls and a unit would go with each other and it does not affect the other ones.
correct. From my understanding.
Okay,
That is, we did some due diligence so far. We didn't really, do
Yeah.
a super deep dive. But from my understanding, we can do 1 unit at a time.
okay.
Initially, like I said, we would establish the building automation system, and
Mhm.
we would retrofit the VAV boxes associated with that unit, so the VAV boxes can talk to that unit.
And is that Wi-Fi or is that hardwired to VAV valves? How is that?
They're hardwired.
Okay, I mean,
Yes.
and that's another thing, if the wiring, if you have to run new wiring into it, And put it this way, if you put a new unit in and you don't do the VAV boxes, you might as well not do the unit.
Exactly. Yeah, we can't, we
Yeah.
physically cannot upgrade just the
Right.
rooftop unit without having that control with the VAV boxes upgraded.
Yeah, and that's what, I think that's what our issue was before. I think, and I could be wrong, but I thought it was presented to us that all the controls had to be done.
Okay.
And that's where I think our hangup was, where it was gonna cost us too much the initial year, which, I mean, we're gonna have to put the unit in first, but it's not gonna, we can change everyone as we're going on.
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
so as you replace the units, we would retrofit the VAV boxes and then integrate it into the system.
Right.
So as they're replaced, Rodney will have more and more visibility to,
Right.
to all the units.
Yeah. Okay.
So I know that Omnia is a procurement vehicle. I'm not sure if you are familiar with that. So CoStars is really meant for service. There is, kind of, it's not a competitive bid process where Omnia is. Omnia, there is, basically we're vetted against other bidders and there's an auditing piece to it as well. So for like larger projects, that is what most of our customers use as a procurement vehicle because it is,
Right.
bid and audited. So that is an option, and I'm pretty confident that that Carbon County has used Omnia before. There was 7 contracts that they used, but there's different verticals. So I'm not sure if it was like maybe for office supplies. I don't know if it was ever used for an HVAC project. I know there was a 4 or 5 units replaced back in 2008. I wasn't around then, so I can't speak if it was used back then, but that was, that is an available option.
And CoStars doesn't always guarantee you the lowest price either. So that's why on projects like this might be the way to go to
Exact-
save some money, because I mean, for what this costs, if we can save $20,000 on each unit.
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
Yeah. okay.
And you never know what kind of funding could come up, if there's grant monies available in the next year or so. These budgets portrayed on the screen are, just for 2026 budgets. So, I mean, with the project development, there's like a couple different paths that we can go. We can do the engineering on just one unit, or we can do it on the whole building. So depending on kind of the scope and how you wanted to proceed would depend on what that breakage fee cost
And
would
do you
be.
know if there's any other funding available? I know like with the schools, they're doing like, I think they're giving funding to do
After
heating
it-
systems and stuff too.
Yes.
I don't know if there's anything available that would be for county government or anything like that. I know the schools, in fact, I think some of the schools are putting in for it right now. in the
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I did speak with another county recently and they had said that they put in, but I didn't like clarify what grant they put in for. And I don't know if that window has passed, but I can try to do some more digging for you on that.
Yeah,
to
and
see.
I don't know if it's a House or a Senate bill that they were working on with something like that they were
Right.
doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know this is just the rooftop units we're discussing, but I'm sure you have a domestic boiler system. I don't know if that was recently replaced, but that's something that we can also include in the project or in the engineering study. So that way, if you do everything all together, you kind of have a path forward. Even if you don't do all of the rooftop units at once, you have that study done and they already would know, what kind of it takes to get the next jobs done.
Okay. I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, my thing is, one is, I think it definitely, we have to go through the bid process, whatever that may be, Omni or whatever. And obviously, it's 18 years, nothing's been replaced or things, so that's where, but my question would be as far as coming up with the bid specs. And I know you said you would provide engineering services to provide those specs. I'm grateful you do that, but I have a little problem with maybe judge and jury there. Because I don't know how you go about it, that you put a spec out there, because some people spec what only they can provide. So it has to be a spec that everybody, anyone who's interested in bidding, so I don't know if that's a question to go back to our solicitor with. I mean, while it's worthwhile, it saves you the money, but I mean, that you've been in contract, you gotta, some people have a specific. And in order to be a competitive bid, how would that have to be? Because nothing against trends, so don't take it that way, but so that it's all you know.
So you do have another option. If you wanted to go out to bid to the market. Well, first of all, do you have a contract or a professional service through an MEP engineer?
No.
Okay, because I was gonna say, if you did, we can use them, as the service, but if you wanted to hire an architect and an engineer to get your plan and spec together, you could go plan and spec with this job. That is an option that you have. If we would own the project, we would handle all that. We have a team of preferred contractors that we use. And we work on a lot of jobs together, so there's kind of a good, flow and camaraderie amongst the team. But yeah, I mean, you have the ability to go plan and spec if that's what you wanted to do. That would be something to think about. With Train, since we already kind of have a team formed, we can expedite the process a little quicker. So, if you were to use Omnia, then that would be your bidding procurement vehicle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I just asked the question is if, how we put that out for bid, that it becomes a competitive bid, that it's not, like, if you say, this is the type of unit you use, and you're the only supplier or distributor of the area, nobody else can get into that unit. So that kind of locks out anybody else being able to come in and say, I'd like to place a bid. And that's a concern I would have, because then I don't know, following along, do we have the most competitive bid? Well, and you may very well be saving us the money on the engineering fees because you're providing all that, and then I get it. But, in fairness of, I know not everybody always wants to hear this, but in fairness of the people out there bidding, I mean, it's got to be, in my eyes, it's got to be an open bid that is fair across the board. That anyone who wishes to bid on it, has that opportunity. They may choose not to,
Right.
but that there's not,
Way we can support that because we work with engineers and mechanical contractors where, I mean, we obviously have a good relationship. Our units, I think we're pretty good over the years with the exception of the last few. So we would like to keep our equipment at the correctional facility. But yeah, I mean, if you wanted to go out to bid, you do have that option.
And we did have mechanical and electrical engineers working for us in the last couple of years. I mean, I don't know if we should just.
I think it's something we
Do
need
have
to
make a
discuss.
motion to look into this, to have the commissioners look into it, or what?
I think we would, entertain a motion to refer to the commissioners, either the purchase of new heating units for the prison or the repair of the existing in the most, cost-effective manner. So if we had a motion to that effect, that puts the ball into your court to bid it out, because we don't get involved in every bid or how you're gonna do the bids, but just general overall.
So what does the project development? That's what you're suggesting here as the first step, as I understand.
Correct.
So you're suggest, which is a professional service, I take it. So what do you get from a project development? I don't know.
So basically, I would pull my team in, right? We have project developers, the engineers, on the control side, and they would start looking at how to best do the project. They would look at scheduling, they would do site walks to ensure like everything is kind of up to par. So they would develop the project and come up with a solution that best suits.
So how does that differ from what the sequence you're proposing here and what you've outlined on the screen? I mean, I take it gives some kind of more detail, but I'm not sure.
Correct. Yeah, it does give more detail. So with that project development, it actually will, there's a schedule to that. So it'll give us, basically we enter into the agreement, give you time to approve that. Then we start doing our due diligence. We'll start looking into, the.
But does it examine, I think it does from what you're saying, it examines the situation on the ground now. And it comes up
Correct.
with a suggested schedule or proposal as to how to ultimately replace these units.
Correct.
Knowing it can't be done at once, it could be a graduated replacement. And I suspect, again, I'm asking, that that's gonna recommend, here's the way we suggested, okay? And then there's a cost to that, and I don't know, what's the cost of the project development agreement?
It depends on the scope of the project.
What's the scope of the project?
So.
Replace 7 RTU units. I'm just trying to ballpark.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anywhere from 30 to 60,000. Because there's a lot of time that goes into,
I'm gonna say it's
Yeah.
30 to 60,000 to have that agreement done and have that plan prepared.
correct.
And then ultimately, if Train was employed, to do the replacement itself, you're saying that gets deducted from the cost. You said that earlier.
That, it gets added to the cost of the project.
I thought, and understood that if Train would then be hired to do the actual replacements,
Mm-hmm.
that 30 or 60,000 for the project development agreement would be deducted from what that cost is. But as Train is not employed, then the 30 to 60,000 is a cost that the county has to absorb.
Yes, if Train is not employed, it is a cost the county would have to, but if we move forward on the job, that would be wrapped up into the final project cost.
So in terms of logically approaching this, is a project development agreement first necessary to know what the project is and what the phases are, so if once we bid it, which may have to be bidded, that the bidding structure be based upon the recommendations in our project development agreement.
Well, we're going to develop the project to our equipment and our specs, as Mr. Sefranco was saying. So that's why he was suggesting the,
That's not the basis, then. Would not make sense if we want to have open bidding so that anyone can bid. It would not make sense to have a project development agreement with Train.
correct.
Exactly.
Yes.
Just to
Right,
give
that's
you an
what I'm-
example, up at
Yeah,
the,
I thought the project development agreement.
no,
was
like up at the dog shelter, the firm that we actually had, the electrical engineer that we had here, I asked them for a generator up at the dog shelter. So what winds up happening, if you spec it to one, somebody might have an 18 kilowatt and another one might have a 22, so it doesn't fit. So then maybe they would be the only ones to bid on it, and that's what we're really not looking for, you know?
But Doesn't the county first need on a project development agreement, kind of order of word to use? But that's generic in nature so that anyone can bid for
Yeah.
those projects.
Yeah.
Correct.
Here's the problem I have with that. We do this now for 2 rooftop units, let's say. We bid it out, 2 years from now, we have to bid out 2 more. Now we train, what other carrier, whoever else comes in and places a bid. Now do we wind up with 3 different, companies that we're dealing with? And that's certainly not cost effective either.
Yes, that's correct.
But that's, we don't write the rules for the state, but that's the other problem that I see.
But I think the
Long
assumption,
term.
but I think the assumption is being made, and I think you're right, Wayne, is that the county can't afford to do this all at once.
Oh,
Because
absolutely
we're
not, no.
Talking, I don't know, $600,000, $750,000 overall. Hey, so if you have to piecemeal it out, you're right, then unfortunately, that's the consequence of bidding, I think. I mean, that's not, that's to your solicitor, but I suspect you're gonna have to bid it out in phases then.
And I think it's better off doing 2 at a time, like you suggested, because till we get that crane in there, take the old units off, put the new units on, back and forth. If you have to pull one in every time, that's a pretty good size expense for getting a crane in.
Absolutely.
It's not an overnight job.
And like I said with Wayne, I mean, I agree with Wayne, but I said the original presentation, I think that we had done before, that all them units were connected together and all them panels had to be changed.
Right.
And like I said, what you're telling me is altogether different. So if we can have that in writing and progress from there, but I don't want you to come back and say, oh yeah, I was wrong. And now we got to replace all 6 panels or 7 panels. That's where my issue is, because this is a different presentation than I think I had before.
Understood.
Don't we need something for Rocky that says someone overall looks at the project and assesses it in an objective way and says, here's the recommendations, here's the recommendation we did, but it's not locked in to one bidder. I don't know, I'm just thinking logically, you need something to say, here's the overall project, and you're gonna need that to build, I suspect, bid specifications. I don't know who, I'm sure there's people who do that,
Yeah.
whatever, do that. And I don't know if the county has an engineer already that they utilize who could make those bid specifications for the county or not, I don't know.
Well, we did, but it's like then we'd have to have a contract with them and probably pay them $150,000, and then they come in and say, well, this duct work is wrong and that's wrong and everything else is, and then it doesn't fit to retrofit to any type of heating system. That's where the trouble is. Like, what do you do? I mean, yeah, it would be nice to put it out to bid and save money, but are you gonna wind up having it
To replace VAV boxes, you know, the expense is definitely
Yeah.
gonna be higher rather than to retrofit. So I can get more information on Omnia and I can go back and look and make sure and verify what I'm telling you is correct.
Yeah.
I'm 75% sure, so I will verify that. And I'll come back and I can even maybe do a sample project development agreement that you can kind of review and see what's involved with that and maybe go from there. That sound okay?
I guess, I mean, I mean, we're sort of like stuck halfway in between here, but like I said, last time, if I remember correctly, it was, your presentation is altogether different than we had before. I mean, if it is,
Presentation.
oh my God, that was probably what, 2 years? When did we have that done? 2 years ago, Rodney, or something?
I mean, it's the
And-
first time I'm getting.
And like I said, if you, and if you have, say, a 440 line or whatever that's coming into it,
Yeah.
there's a 440 line coming into each individual one. They're not hooked together with each other. And like I said before, I thought all them units had the controls had to be changed, that it was presented to us. Now, if you can take one panel out and replace the heat, one panel, replace the heat, that's what I think we were looking for, and that wasn't how it was presented to us before.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll clarify that for
Okay.
you, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, what I would say is obviously we could sit and discuss this every meeting and
Yeah.
that's not gonna solve it, but the motion that Mike had proposed on the floor does make sense. That it passes it off and then we can report back to you and keep you an update as to
And
where
we
we
could-
are.
If we need to call a special meeting and you're not waiting a full month on it, then we could do it.
Yeah.
That way there we can move it along.
Yeah, to get it
And
into
if you
your
can
court,
get us
'cause
that
you wanna get rid of
information,
what hurts,
right.
because that might meet the
Yeah.
bidding requirements that you're talking about
Yeah.
if the state has it set up that way. Similar to the co-stars, but,
Right.
but what a type of competitive bidding aspect to it that gets you around the full out bid. Unless you're looking to full out bid it, then you gotta, like you were saying, you have to get your own engineer and draw up the specs for it. And then then you're looking at all kind of other things, it's different company, different types of venting, I understand. All right, so that was the motion. Did you get the motion that I suggested? Did we get that for the minutes, or do I have to repeat that? Who's taking minutes? You get that? Well, what?
To have the commissioners further pursue.
It was a
Okay.
recommendation acknowledging the need to replace all the units, all the heating units at the correctional facility, and that to refer it to the Board of Commissioners to determine whether it needs to be bid or to develop a replacement or repair plan that is the most cost effective, and provide updates to the prison board as to the progress. The
I'll
decision
second
has to
that,
be made.
Mike. Mike did.
Yeah, I guess I could make a motion.
I'll second that.
How would you like me to get back to you with that information?
By this afternoon and no. But, I mean, I don't know if you want to like, well, you could email like a bunch of us, like Ronnie or Derek should have it and Ellie. And then Ellie can just pass it on correct to us. That we can, get something going within, hopefully that you can get something back by middle of next week. Is that possible? Okay,
Sure.
okay.
Thank you so much for your time. I
No,
thank you.
appreciate it.
Okay.
One quick question. What do you think the timeline would be? My biggest fear too, we replaced 2 units and the one goes in between. Number 3, we plan on replace 7 and 3 before we get that far. Number 2 might go, or whatever.
Yeah, that's something I really can't
Yeah,
answer,
none of
you
us
know?
like it.
So that's the other piece to it, the puzzle, right? You just don't know what's gonna happen, so.
I'll second that motion from Mike made.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. All right, any other guests? We'll move on to approval of the minutes of the meeting held, regular meeting held January 21st, 2026.
Motion approved.
There's a motion by Rocky. Is there a second? Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. No executive sessions held. Report of committees, maintenance report. You're not gonna go through everything with the heating units, all right?
Basically, everybody should have my maintenance report. Train was in numerous times. They attempted to try to get the unit running to hopefully get us through the season, but it just didn't happen. K&D was in for repairs with the rationale oven. They ordered parts, they came in, put the parts in. 2 days later, that unit went down, so they needed to order more parts, which we have that on hold at the moment. We're looking into possibly getting a different oven, more cost effective. When the unit went down, Pima delivered the emergency heating that night. We've been up and running ever since. We changed the filters at the dog shelter. We helped via Path GTL fix an issue with the inmate phones. I submitted the reports for DEP. He was notified that somebody got hit by ice over at the dog shelter, so we've been knocking down any icicles we've seen on a daily basis since. As of right now, I believe there isn't any snow or ice on that roof at that section. We had a technician in that did a yearly testing and the inspection of the body scanner. Clean Air Systems did our 6 month cleaning of the exhaust. And Psych Brothers in for their monthly service. You also have the inventory list with dates, model numbers, and everything else, which I was asked the last time I presented it, said maybe every 6 months. So that's why that list is here. And then up to Friday is basically checking the unit, the emergency heating unit.
Any questions for Rod? Okay, and then we'll move on to work release report.
Submitted to the board is the work release report for January of 2026. There were 3 individuals on out of facility work release. Also included the disbursements for the in-house workers. Director Schubeck is still have not returned to work, and Sergeant Flexer is still filling in the role of the work release director.
Any questions on the work release report? Plan on Action Committee, Derek, you met with Danny. I wasn't able to get there yesterday at a prelim.
Yeah, shortly when I met yesterday, we just discussed, basically the proposal today that was gonna be submitted by Train.
All right, Warden's report.
So the first page here, Commissioner Noakes had requested, last month, so that's just the monthly live scan report, breaks down, the amount of live scan that were done at the prison, and also, the lead charge in each of those cases. 71 individuals who were put at the prison, and
On that report, could you put a financial number on that? How many of those 71, they all pay, they get it?
so we don't collect money at the prison anymore
No.
for fingerprinting, that gets included right in their work release costs.
Right, but do you know what the income from that would be? Is that, it's not reported in to you?
Not until after.
Okay, I have to look elsewhere.
I don't know where that would come from. I don't know. But no, we don't collect any money at the prison anymore. That all just gets rolled into their work, or their
Goes
court costs.
Clerk reports?
Probably with the clerk, I could help you with that, see what we can get. Sure, the program will do that for us. If I can't get it through them,
Yeah.
it's docketed, so we'll see it, and there might be a way to pull it out through court admin. I'll see what I can do to find that.
Thanks.
Yep.
As far as the Wilderness Report, for the period of January 1st to January 31st, we had a total of 50 admissions, consisted of 43 males and 7 females. We had a total of 64 releases, 53 men and 11 females. The average population for the month was 131 inmates. The population at the end of the month was 123 total inmates, which was 104 males and 19 females. We had a total of 50 intakes for the month, the year to date so far. And we had a total of 11 transports, which were broken down, and 0 days of hospital duty.
Any questions on, well, before I get to that, what we did with the heating and the work that the warden did and his staff should be commended. I mean, we've gotten got calls from the press, and I also got anonymous letters complaining about horrendous situation that they're freezing in the prison, and that, none of that was true, but based upon the work that was done up there and the quick action that was taken. So, it was a job well done, but.
No, and they were up and running within a couple hours.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
like, it wasn't,
We're still
I
getting them
mean,
today,
yeah,
today.
at your house, you're probably, if your heat goes off, you're probably gonna be colder than you were at the prison. I think they did do a tremendous
Mhm.
job, because I said when it was reported, and Zach helped out and everybody, and Rodney, and then like it was up, I think, was it by 8 o'clock already? I think
Yeah.
it was going, so, we have to commend them.
Yeah, you did an exceptional job. Okay, with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to accept the warden's report.
So move.
Motion, is there a second? Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Do we need an executive session? Do you want to take it now, or do you want to wait till?
Is it gonna require action?
Gonna require action regarding the personnel report.
Okay, well then can we
Okay.
finish you wanna finish it and come back into there? or you
I-
wanna-
You want to come back in and then do it at the end of the meeting? We can
Yeah,
do that.
because if it's
So I'll
gonna take
move
action,
that.
then we don't have to come back and do action, before we go to personnel at the end, and then come back in and do your action, and then adjourn.
We're going,
Well, do the executive session at the end, but don't close the meeting.
okay.
Don't
So
adjourn the meeting.
I'll move the executive session and the personnel report till after, we'll do it right when, right at further business where number 10 is. Okay, so with that being said, is there any old business? Okay, any new business?
I-
The other two things I had for new business was, training report, which they did at the beginning of the meeting, and then just a software support agreement. It's a renewal contract regarding for our door panel access up at the jail.
And we've had them for how long? Renewal, okay. That was attached to the documents that we received prior to the meeting.
So it used to go under the title of Keystone Fire and Security, but I guess they've rebranded now. It's High Parker.
Okay,
Before that, they were CSI.
Yeah, same company. Same company.
okay, so I'll entertain a motion to refer this to the, since it is that annual agreement that comes up, to refer it to the commissioners for execution, subject to any review by the county solicitor. Is there a motion to that effect? I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Rocky. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that passes. And then, is there anything else under new business?
I have one thing. As you all know, the medical provider at the prison, we had put out for a request for proposals. The county has received 3 proposals back. There's a lot of information within each proposal, a lot of in-depth reading that needs to be done there. The commissioners obviously, have to make a final decision on that by May. But what I would request or ask to be discussed here is that we get a smaller committee here together and I put the warden as person kind of in charge of that committee. I hate to assign a task to you, but to go over those proposals and see what best meet the needs. Because there's a lot of back and forth as to one's here, one's there, and we all know the circumstances surrounding our current one. So I just would like, if we can get, I don't know if you want 3, 4 people involved in that sit down and kind of dig through and then come back with a recommendation to this board. And then that recommendation would go forward to the commissioners. It kind of gets us all on the same, thought process of what's going on
I
here.
agree. I like having the warden on there, and I think because it's gonna go to the commissioners for, ultimate review on what they wanna do, you should have one of the commissioners on it. So if there's one that's available, one of you wanna be on that committee. Come on, you got a lot of time.
No.
Would you like to serve on it, Gara?
I guess.
Kayla Irvin, she said she. didn't
I
you-
saw Kale over there waving also.
Well, it's good because there's a big cost analysis that has to be done. That's right in the controller's realm. You wanna serve on that? Okay, thank you. All right, so that's the 3-person committee, and And I'll, anything you need from me, I'll.
Only
I'll
about
make-
600 pages. We gotta
That's a
look
lot
at.
to read. I had to open
Yeah,
up a
it's
zip
like
file.
how
Why
much-
zip? I don't know anything about zipping.
Yeah, it's like, it's like.
Is that what that is?
Like one is 286 pages, the other one's, I think, is it two something, and the one is. Yeah, it's like, I looked at them and like I got,
I did the
Like-
same thing, I opened it on
Bob,
my.
did you-
Oh, yeah, it's-
Did you pull them or are you looking at them?
well, I opened one up and I printed it on, I go on to
You
the
could-
thing and
you
there's a
could
stack.
figure it out yourself with it and see anything that jumps out. I appreciate that.
Like,
Okay, we'll take care of that. Anybody else have anything under new business?
no.
Well, thank you all for serving on that committee. The commissioners really, I mean, I'm gonna tell you, I
Not-
definitely, because
Before
looking
punches
through it,
me in the mouth,
it has,
don't-
there is quite a bit of information has got to be gone through there. And I just think that, we're all, everyone's busy, but if we spread the work out a little, we'll be able to dig through it a lot faster. Hopefully.
Lady is the, okay.
It's intense. I've read, you read the first one and then the other two start running, we'll let it go.
One of them, they're all landing on my desk.
Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
And as I indicated, we're moving down to 10 so after any correspondence? Then we'll move into an executive session. We'll move it right down to 10 for any further business if we have to conduct it after the executive session. Okay, we were, in executive session on a personnel matter. And, we'll address it then, through our personnel report. So, we discussed, a personnel matter and there's going to be an amendment to the personnel report, that will be reduced to writing. And, that one amendment that we've discussed will be changed. So is there a motion to, accept or approve the personnel report with that amendment, being made?
Motion.
There's a motion made. Is there a second? Second, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Then, I have something, is there any, we did already no correspondence, further business. I wanted to say to the commissioners, with regard to the, well, go ahead. What did you want to say, Rocky?
Well, I just want to I mean, we're always talking about the opiate money, and probably one of the biggest complaints I think that I hear is we're spending too much money on the commercials. And I think in the last, I'm trying to figure this thing out, like even with the CMP coming in and, Warden, George and I went to Schuylkill County. And I think one of the things that I see at our prison is, and I understand that everybody says, is CMP there for 40 hours? Well, I don't think a lot of people realize it, that maybe somewhere along the line, there's not any offices or anything like that or conference rooms available. So if you go up there, it's just like our conference room here. Hey, you might not be able to get in here for 2 weeks. And up there, maybe it's not available for 40 hours. And I'm not saying that that's what the thing is, but Schuylkill County has put an addition on their prison to help opiate. And I think it's a good idea. Derek and I went out there, and I'd like to take Wayne and Mike out for a trip also, and I'm working on it to try to present it to the opiate committee. And then we'd have room to do something. You know, up there where, you know, if you have 3 rooms there and 3 attorneys come in, now where do you put the person that's working on somebody for opiates? You know what I mean? And so I'm hoping that we can put something together, and Schuylkill County really has it together. I mean, they have a pretty nice building, and it was paid pretty much all out of the opiate money. And I think some of our reports that we got, and I think we need a little bit more information, not only just on, you know, you can connect mental health to this also, you know, also. So when you're on an opiate, it affects your mental health also. So instead of just putting in for opiates, it's opiate mental health also. And that's how they're, not that they're getting around it, but every time you overdose, it affects your mind.
It's a dual diagnosis, so once they
Yeah.
have that dual diagnosis, they're able to still use, it's right in that Schedule E.
And
it's
for
listed
us, and
that tool.
I agree with everybody, spending $400,000 on a commercial is ridiculous. I think if we could do something at the prison to help people and get them down the road, that's the perfect thing for me. So we're working on that, and hopefully, in fact, our grant writer is working on the narrative for it right now. And I'm gonna give it to the trust and see what they think about it.
They
And-
have go ahead, I'm sorry.
No,
I've
and
interrupted.
even if you'd like to, I said, I'm sure they'd have us go out there again. And I thought they just started on it. And we were at the conference, and they were saying like, oh, well, we approved this for Carbon County. I said, no, I wanted to do this for like a long time. And I said, I'm from Carbon County. And he goes, oh, I thought you were from Schuylkill. So there he got a hold of them out at Schuylkill, and they're probably going to be done within the next month. I mean, they were spackling and everything. And a facility that has a conference room that they do group therapy, you know, an individual. So I think, you know, I just look at this, and I understand your part with the bills, Mike. Yeah, you're concerned about the money and
Yeah.
if it's in there. And my concern is also like saving the money and getting people, how could I say, the day you enter the prison is when your therapy starts. You know what I mean? Your recovery starts, not when you go out. So I'm hoping that something like this will work out, but I wanted, and I know we have the opiate committee, and everybody wants, I'm trying to find something that we can use the money that's gonna last for a long time.
There's at the DA's conference, we were able to get the people from the opioid settlement trust to come to the meeting. Because there's a case in Chester County that's up on appeal, because Chester County received opioid money to hire another public defender to deal
Exactly.
with drug treatment court.
Yeah.
But the opioid committee denied hiring a district attorney or secretarial staff. And they're saying, hey, your purpose in the drug treatment court is exactly the same. In fact, we do more work in drug treatment court than the defense attorneys do. But they were talking that there is a committee that's set up within a committee
Yes,
that will review your
Correct.
applications. That doesn't guarantee it,
yes.
but it puts you, if you're in the right track, or what you could do to improve it. So just so you know, that's.
There's a
available
team
to
at
them.
three
Yeah,
that does
yeah,
that, and
they told us
that's,
about
that's
that.
what I'm.
Other than
trying
that, we
to-
didn't get any good answers because
Yeah.
it was, because
Well,
obviously we don't,
They
they-
look at your part,
they
you're,
don't like us.
you're prosecuting, the other one's defending, and that's their.
But
they
they
don't-
missed the concept that we're the ones that put these people in there. It has to go through us first to begin with, and we review everyone. We're in there, we're part of the treatment team. So it's, but.
And I think that things are opening up a little bit more with
It
the
is.
trust. It is, like they're seeing different things
Yep.
that work, and
Yep.
hopefully we'll be able to get you money also. How's that?
No, I just want, so that we're using it and we're using it,
But like with us here, like we spend so much money on these commercials, we would already had an addition built
We
on
would
it,
have too,
you know.
yep.
So.
All right. Any
Thank you.
further business? And then, if there's nothing further, then we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.